Steve, Tony, and Sam with the Nashville Home Guys. And today we wanted to give you a little journey through the buying process. So if you were intimidated, there's no reason to be, because one, you'll be working with us. But that's what we want to do today. So we'll take you through the three phases of buying a new home.
Well, you guys, we're going to start with phase one. And this is a really important part. Well, all these phases are important, but this one is really important so that you don't get discouraged or don't know really what you can afford. The most important thing is to get pre-approved with a mortgage lender. Just so you know what your price limits are, and so you don't find something that, oh my goodness, you fall in love with, but then you find out you can't qualify for it. So the first thing would be to really get with a banker or a mortgage lender, or you could check with your realtor and just see who they might recommend and who they work with. The second one would be to find a realtor, but we've already solved that for you because you got all three of us to work with. So I wouldn't even worry about that one. Just give the Nashville Home Guys a call. And then the next thing is you guys really need to put together a list of wants and needs, things you really want in a house and things you really need in a house. A lot of times people buy what they want, and by the time they live in it for a little while, they find out they didn't get anything they really needed for their lifestyle. And then the next thing would be is to go look. Get in a car, get with us, and let's go look. That'll help you refine exactly what you're looking for so that you just get comfortable with what you guys are looking for in a house. It's really important to get out, go look. Don't believe the pictures, because sometimes they're kind of misleading. So we'll go find out, though, if the house is in good shape. I'm going to turn it over to Tony now so he can do phase two.
Thanks, Steve. Well, it's really important that when you're writing an offer, you want to make sure that it's competitive, and it's really important to work with an agent that knows what they're doing. Once you have that competitive offer in, a lot of times you're going to compete with 10 to 12 different offers for a nice house here in Nashville. Once you get that house under contract, there are some out-of-pocket expenses that a lot of people don't think about. Your first one is going to be your earnest money. That's typically going to be about 1% of the purchase price. So if you're looking at a $300,000 house, it's going to be about $3,000 that you're putting in good faith money that just shows that you are a very interested buyer, that you know what you're doing. And it shows the seller that you are very interested. Your second expense is going to be that inspection. The inspection and the appraisal are both written into the offer or the contract that you have that just shows that, yes, you are interested in the house, but if there's something wrong with it, it protects you so that you can back out if the inspection's bad. The inspection is going to run you about $350 to $500 depending on what company you use. And you typically have about 7 to 10 days, how it's written in the contract, for you to have the inspection and to back out if the inspection doesn't go through. And the appraisal, typically with the appraisal, you want that house to appraise for $300,000 so that the bank or the mortgage that they approve your loan, if it only appraises for $280,000, then you are either responsible for that extra $20,000. You can back out and start looking again, or the third process is you can get the seller to drop the price to $280,000. So again, it's very important to have an agent that knows what they're doing and that you can negotiate with the sellers to make sure that you get the house of your dreams. Now we're going to pass it on to Sam for phase three.
Thanks, Tony. Woo! You guys are almost to the finish line, and we've entered phase three of the home buying process. Now, when you first wrote your contract, you would have chosen a closing attorney with your realtor. And essentially, their role is to bring all the pieces of the transaction together. So they're looking at the contract, the lending, they're making sure that there aren't any additional liens or discrepancies on the property, making sure that it's ready to transfer to you. Now, earlier, Tony talked about the appraisal process. Once the appraisal is done, it will go back to the bank and you will enter the underwriting phase of your loan. It's very important during this phase and during the whole loan process that you don't make any major financial decisions. So don't finance a new car, don't finance new furniture. Essentially, if you have any major purchases to make, check with your loan officer beforehand and make sure that it's okay. And definitely try your hardest not to make any job changes. These can affect the whole picture of what you qualify for. Now, once you're out of the underwriting process, you'll be issued your lending disclosure. This tells you how much money you need to bring to the closing table, and it gives you all the final numbers on your loan. It's essentially the final package. This needs to be signed at least 3 days prior to the close date. There's a federally regulated wait time of 3 days. So once you sign that, you can't close within 3 days. Now is also a great time to switch over your utilities on your new property. So typically a week before, I tell my buyers to call the local utility company, the electric, the water, trash if applicable, gas if applicable. That way when you move in, you know you have running water and electric. You want to make a good first impression on your neighbor, and if you're not showering, you might be a little stinky. Anyways, after these things are done, you will finally get to the closing table. Now it's time to loosen up those wrists, maybe wear a sweatband because you're about to make a lot of signatures. But it'll be worth it because once these documents are signed, you will finally get the keys to your new home and you'll get to move. So, if you have any questions about any of these phases or any of the steps in them, we would love to hear from you and clarify. We have also linked in the description our free home buyer's guide that we've put together. So please click that, download it, and when you're ready, give the Nashville Home Guys a call and we'll get you moving. Thanks, guys.